Yes, so we have Mr. Mukund Abhyankar with us, and though this is a GST group, but yeah, we would have like to talk about the rupee 500 and rupee 1000 notes. Over to Mr. Abhyankar.
Thank you, Chaya. This particular topic of cancellation of 500 and 1000 rupee note has touched everybody's heart and pocket, and it has been in discussion on various social media, print media, TV media. Lot of reactions, rumors have so far happened. But the one reaction which I came across and which I found very relevant as a proper description of what the move has been taken, that I have found in today's Business Standard Weekend Rumination by T.N. Neenan, who used to be past editor of Business Standard. He had described this move by Modi to be the best ever socialist move which any Prime Minister of India has ever taken. At one stroke, he has equated the purchasing power of rich with so many poor and lower middle class and middle class people that everybody is worth the same money in terms of value just by cancellation of 500 and 1000 rupees note. So what is relevant is now only up to 100 rupees note, what number of notes you are having. So this is very great move to take away from rich what they did not declare under the present laws, or which was not possible for the current administration to take from those particular rich and black money marketers. So poor people have not reacted badly in spite of lot of hue and cry by political class which is in opposition for small inconveniences which are being suffered by the people by standing in queues, etc. Poor people doesn't have anything to complain, because I have just seen one TV program where some households of Odisha were shown. They used to have only 100 rupees a day as their daily income on household level. So what is the use of 500 rupee note for them? And Arthakranti had suggested the same thing, that high denomination notes, when the per capita income is not more than 10,000 rupees, doesn't have any significance. But there were many drawbacks in altogether eliminating high denomination notes. It has some other ramifications also. So that proposal of banking transaction tax could not come through. But at least partially, by cancelling these notes, he has achieved a great objective of socialism. That is what I also think at the first instance itself, that this is the great socialist move, which was not possible for communists for a long time, is being done by Modi by just one move or one declaration. Secondly, lot of news are being made by interested and vested interests on news channels, showing the queues before the banks and showing what inconveniences are being suffered by the common people. Rahul Gandhi used to stand in the queue, and he used to describe yesterday on TV channel that, do you see any rich people in suit and boots standing with me in the queue for withdrawal? There were no people standing in suit and boot, but they were not poor people either. They were some middle class and above middle class people who were mostly comprising the queues that we can see in front of banks for withdrawal. So the best thing to deal with such kind of temporary inconvenience is to treat it as if it is a natural calamity. Even in case of a natural calamity, people suffer for some days.
Right.
But I recollected an example of Kosi River, which is a great river of Bihar. Every year it changes its course. Its riverbed changes every year. Lot of people get displaced every year because of the floods of Kosi. But in the process of changing its riverbed, it creates huge acres of newly fertile land. So people accept it as though it is a calamity, it is going to finally lead to some better life in future. And people who are poor have understood this, and they are not raising any problem about this move. So this inconvenience, and another reason for this inconvenience I think lies in the reason of maintaining secrecy behind this move. Because if all the contingencies that would arise as a result of cancellation were taken care of as a pre-planned activity, so many people would have been required to be involved, and
Right.
maybe in that process secrecy would have lost. And that may be the reason there are some difficulties in coping with the sudden need or demand for new 100 rupee notes. That logistic problems I think are because of the need for keeping secrecy, so that I read somewhere only 10 people from PMO and RBI, only 10 number of people were knowing about this move. So this was the basic difficulty of not knowing many people, and that was I think the reason for not preparing sufficiently for the contingencies that could arise in the immediate future. But I think that is going to be a temporary difficulty.
Right.
Within a month's time, I think all the dust will settle, and then people will be having smooth transactions. Now coming to the effect of this particular move, why this is called as socialist move, is because 20% of the annual GDP is estimated to be carried out in black money transactions, and who carry out these black money transactions are not the poor people, not the lower middle class, nor the middle class. They are the rich traders and industrialists. Secondly, so this particular size of black economy, if it is estimated to be 20%, how it translates in the form of notes. Total value of currency in the form of currency notes that is in circulation today before this cancellation was having a value of 17 lakh crore of rupees. All notes taken together having that much value, of which 86% is represented by 500 or 1000 rupee notes.
It's a great number. Huh?
Yes, it's a great number, and out of that 86%, the number of notes which have this 86% value is just 17%. So if you look at APC analysis of notes composition, you will find A category notes which have 17% as a number have 86% value in the composition. It is anybody's guess that with this 17% which are there in number, who will be the mostly who will be having those notes mostly? Obviously the rich people, because most numbers are concentrated in the hands of rich people. So 17% of the number of notes getting into the pockets of industrialists, bureaucrats, black money marketers and industrialists are having this 86% value. Another reason why we see even lower middle class and middle class people standing in queues for exchanging their notes is over the years, due to inflation, the purchasing value of money has reduced considerably. You may recall that in 1978 Morarji Desai cancelled 1000 rupee note. There was not much difficulty because the purchasing power of money was considerably higher. So very little number of people were affected. Today if you say anybody's wallet, you will find at least 2 or 3 500 rupees note, because any good article you want to buy, you have to spend more than 500 rupees. That is the story of inflation which has happened. So people are forced to hold those high denomination notes because there was inflation over the years. Now with this note cancellation, what is going to happen is this reduction in the purchasing power of rupee will be curtailed. There will be actually increase in the purchasing power of money, because lesser number of money notes will now chase higher amount of goods and services. There will be deflation like situation, more goods and services but lesser demand because of no money available with the people. So in turn, as any economic student also can say, lower demand and higher supply will lead to decrease in prices. So purchasing power of rupee in the coming months will definitely be increased so that people will not be requiring to have 500 and 2000 rupees notes frequently as they used to require it before the cancellation. So that occasion why 500 and 2000 rupees note will be there, I think those occasions will come down. The reason for this money not being available for buying goods and services is that most of this money represents tax evaded money. So it is a reasonable estimate that out of this 86% value of notes, total 30% of the value will never come back to the banking system for exchange or deposit into bank account. In terms of absolute rupees, it translates to some 5 lakh crore of rupees. So it is a big dividend to the central government that suddenly a big bonanza is happening, and that translates into 3 to 4% of the GDP. So this is the scale of money which the government will be getting by taking out of the pockets of real illegal people. So this is really a good move, that people are forced to slash out their money for making the government richer. Then finally, what are the pitfalls? That money will be getting available to the government, but as so much amount of money will be getting out of the system, there is a real risk of deflation also if that money supply doesn't increase. So government will have to undertake now infrastructure development projects on a massive scale, so that money comes back into the system again with the people. And at the same time, like China, we will have big infrastructure projects which will add to the GDP will be happening. Today these are not possible. Private public partnership model has not worked. So it is only the government which can do public works, and for those public works there will be good amount of money available with the government. And if those projects and farmer schemes are taken on a big scale, which today are not being taken, like Manrega, they can start more schemes like that, and infrastructure can be built which can further translate into GDP growth, and money supply problem also will be tackled. So really the coming days are a challenge for the government also. Unless the government plans for doing very good with the additional money, this is going to be a problem, and then the people will be really angry, because when the money supply is not there, there will not be any activity on the part of private people, because money doesn't have any color really from demand point of view. Whether it is a black money or white money, it is being spent on things. So being spent, it creates demand, and demand creates employment. So if there is no demand, then the money supply will be a constraint on both employment and GDP growth. So it is now, ball is now in the court of government to do all this infrastructure development activity. Another fallout of this particular initiative is that bank money will have more prominence over the cash transactions or plastic money. And it is a good sign. It is a good sign of India getting into a developed economy segment, that more people will now be banking on the deposits in bank account rather than exchanging notes. Obvious political benefit for administration has been that all fake notes are suddenly vanished. All bad designs of Pakistan are now useless unless they go into printing the new 500 and 2000 rupee notes. But they are saying that good security features are added so that it may not be very easy to introduce fake new notes into the market. So much of the terrorist activity will stop. And I will quote one example of USA, that after 9/11, there is no major attack on USA that has happened for last so many years. The main reason being the financial supply to terrorist activities are rigidly controlled by US Department, and that is the reason this particular terrorist activity is not taking place in USA. In history, we have seen that there used to be a term, rasat todne. Whenever you wanted to attack any fort, you first cut the supplies of ration to that particular fort, so that after 6-7 months, the people on the fort themselves used to surrender because they couldn't survive. So reducing the funds availability to terrorist activity is a great step that has been taken with this move. So overall, I think as good nationals, everybody should back this particular move and welcome and do whatever little one can do. There was very good post from one bank employee of Canara Bank of Port Road branch who said that he had to work for 11 hours in last 4 days. But he enjoyed those 11 hours despite all the fatigue, because he had a feeling that he is really contributing for the first time for the welfare of the country. So the war is now being fought on the inside front of the surgical strike is now within the economy, and it is a very good thing that has happened. So much of criticism is done that currency note do not represent the only black money. Money is tied in land holdings, in gold. But I had one important doubt about this argument that black money is not getting targeted. Take the case of a flat which was sold by beta for taking 40% cash. Now somebody who is having black money like a bureaucrat who has purchased that flat by paying 40%, his black money has become white. But again the money which is with the builder is again in the form of notes. So even though it is
somewhere it is residing somewhere
it is residing, and most of the times it is residing, it is on black money reasons. So
it is segregated.
That form in which this particular money is invested cannot be looked from the angle of people who are having those black money purchased land and gold, because somewhere those who have sold are also in the chain of black money. So that argument doesn't hold. Another very good argument against this black money success is that this currency cancellation doesn't address the foreign deposits and money coming through FII, through notes, promissory notes. But government now will, I think, tackle that problem also, because anyhow it is coming through the system. It is not hidden like currency notes. So with proper supervision, that money may be tackled very easily because it is already a part of the system. So two major deficiencies also will be addressed in short time. So government has taken very good steps. Modi will be remembered in history for doing such a spectacular thing with very good precision. I think he has been held by a committed nationalist from RSS, because such a big exercise could not have been done unless so committed people are involved. So very good thing has happened to the country. Thank you.
Any piece of advice, if anybody else, I think, on the amount to be deposited, while lots of messages are floating around on what you can deposit, what you cannot, and
that
anything
they have informed.
Is it a formal information,
yes,
or what you? That's a formal communication. Okay, I will just
10,000 in one time of deposit and 20,000 in a week.
That is for withdrawal. That is withdrawal.
That is for withdrawal.
But what you should deposit, what you should not deposit, any guidelines, anybody?
Today they have given advertisement in the newspaper,
Yeah,
RBI, that up to 2.5 lakhs, the amount which is deposited will not be informed to the income tax department.
Up to 2.5 lakh
Up to
per bank account or overall for any?
Overall.
Per PAN. Per PAN. Correct. And per bank account, I think it should be 2 lakhs, because usually they select a case for scrutiny.
One time
they are tracking on PAN basis, and the reason why this PAN is immediately available to department is that on 9th they kept all the banks closed.
Correct.
Not for
they have linked the website.
Money currency notes to the bank, but for just linking the bank servers to the income tax department server.
So against your PAN, you can see on your e-filing website how much has been.
Information of
deposits against your PAN.
Okay. But here, if you see now, the cooperative sector is something which is
Ramakrishnan.
global.
Ramakrishnan, you can speak.
And if you see, if most of this politicians' black money are channeled through this cooperative banks, where they create Benami deposits and put the money where they want to.
They have passed Benami Act also.
Act is all passed.
No, but that is also very recently passed.
They don't take the PAN number only.
They don't take the PAN while depositing.
At present, if they have to exchange it, everybody is needed a PAN number or Aadhaar card.
One of the things. And
now
there is no PAN, then the limit is 50,000.
About that, as far as the whatever 500 rupees note that is there. Now, when we are talking about what is lying with the what is lying out is mostly with this bureaucrats, current bureaucrats, and traders. If you say politicians whom you feel they are targeting are already gone into the banking system.
No,
because
they
of
have,
this, because there is
huge
perpetuity.
stock of
You
notes
see,
for elections, which are coming in 5
if
states.
they had pulled out, it could be a problem, but otherwise,
And it was a political strike also on the opposition. So because this is the
Elections
most
are
opportune
going,
time
yeah,
when
opportune.
politicians are also holding money in currency. So that is the reason why all these people
but one
are
more thing
angry.
which I see from here is, though whatever you are pointing out, if it all goes through, it is a very good laid out thing. But generally, I have seen we have got a lot of jugaad by which the money goes back into the banking system. Like for instance, yesterday I was reading all these Jandan accounts are suddenly getting 49,000 rupees. Okay, now the government has said below 2.5 lakhs, no information will be passed on to the income tax. So that obviously you have to hold by whatever you are saying. So then that 49 will now become 2.5. Because every time 49, it will go up to 2.5. Now
How it is possible logistically for distributing 2.5 lakhs to so many people? Do you think if you are holding 1 crore as a black money, will you find so many people who are willing to take?
There are middlemen who are doing it, no? See, there are middlemen for a percentage who are
But
doing
then
it.
somewhere it will come to light. It cannot be hidden when it is
Second
going to be on
alternative which
last.
I would like to talk on this thing. The people who have gathered the money, if they are distributing it on their own 2.5 lakhs to everybody, what he says socialism has come out. No, it will.
There is no
They will
distribution.
take it as a
happening.
return, no? They will
No,
take it back.
that is the point
Why
I
will
am
they
trying
give
to
it?
make. That is the point
Give
I am
some
trying to
10,
make. When we
20%.
are talking about the 2,000 rupees note, now all this money will flow out from the system back into the as a black money. Okay, now all these people will have to do
Provided all inspection agencies are sleeping, then only it can happen.
So
You are
how are
assuming
they
that
going to
again,
monitor? That's another challenge.
but it is a
Second
big
is
shock to all bureaucracy also.
the bureau.
Today, they are taking bribes for last 70 years. Suddenly they are become
For them it is a
faithless.
big challenge. For
Now they are in a shock
Now for
that such thing can happen again. So do the corruption, take the challenge, and then become again faithless. So they also will be changing their attitudes.
From
And there are at least 30-40% good people in the system. They will also now will be leading from the front.
People will be from a businessman's perspective. I would say that this is another voluntary disclosure scheme without paying that additional 15%.
Yes.
But it is 100% tax, na?
No, 30%.
Voluntary- No, all that notes have gone worthless.
No, I go and deposit into my bank
No,
account.
it is 2% penalty.
200%
How
penalty
it
on the
goes
base
to-
amount?
it goes to
On the base
100%
amount or on the
on the
tax?
base amount.
Oh, that's a
No,
big thing.
No, how they
No,
will
not
No,
let-
it is
It's on the
on
tax.
tax.
On tax.
200% additional
They have to
tax.
pay 85 lakhs as a this thing.
Baba, under what
Tax.
provision?
So, but then it is
We are talking
100.
about section
271(1)(c).
271(1)(c) concealment.
Yes.
Where have I concealed? I filed my return this year.
If you can be able to prove the amount,
You will file
then
for
nothing.
you will file for financial year 16, 17.
Yeah.
Then I
If you,
have to
if you
file.
prove it, there is nothing. But if you are not able to prove,
If I am having a business, I will say I earned this income.
this will
No,
be
no,
a
but you
this
will have to declare sources also.
Sources by cash again.
Correct.
How the cash
So,
erupts came up.
As
and
Chandra
if you
was,
see,
know how it is done.
if you think this would be a tip of the pin of the total. I would like to add something. Once these banking transaction up to 31st December, I don't think 20% of the notes which are in circulation will come in banking transaction. 20% of the notes will get cancelled. 20% of
People
the
are
notes.
saying 30%.
Yeah,
He is saying 30%.
yeah. But 30%, I think it's my guts. But 20%, 10%, what he says would get in circulation by depositing anybody's account to 2.5 lakhs, 2.5 lakhs.
20 will be the genuine percentage. 10 will be the add-on by some method.
20% would definitely go out of the circulation, and balance 10% what you are saying would come to the bankers for circulation. This will create additional amount of money in the hands of bankers, and this will reduce the banking rate. This will help to reduce the banking rate, and it would also help to reduce the inflation, as he said. But 20% would definitely get destroyed. Those 20% would be available to government for printing, and as he said, it would be used for infrastructure development. And what he's saying that if you deposit 50,000 rupees in a banking account, nobody will ask, I agree. 2,50,000 if you deposit, there mean, but if it is for businessman, he has to prove, he has to pay indirect taxes, which nobody is understanding. Once you have deposited that amount, you have to pay indirect tax,
Because
which is
you have
around
to declare sales also.
which is around 15%, which is around 15 to 25%. Government will earn that also. What I think in 16-17 financial year, the turnover of the businessman will go at like anything.
Right.
But it would not affect between January to March.
April to
For
April.
January to March, it would be stagnant. I think there would be a less business in that. It will hamper business. But in January to March, there would be a less business compared to what we have genuinely in last 6-7 months.
But as it is generally March is a dry
Clean
month for
period,
any
yeah.
business.
So, but 17-18, as Abhyankar Sahab said, if infrastructure development goes on, 17-18 would give a tremendous growth to this country. If this additional money is used for infrastructure development, which he might have planned, PM might have planned, but I think this would help. And 17-18 it would fetch, it will show the result. It would be a transitional year, but it will show result.
Because two things are happening, GST and this infrastructure.
Yes.
Together and along with good monsoon of earlier year, it is going to have very good impact on the economy.
And what I am going